Hey guys, this is Ray the Messenger, and in today's video I'm going to talk to you about overcoming depression while you're in college. And at first, before we get into the video, I will tell a little story of how I overcame the depression when I was in college. So back in the day, when I was 18 years old, I enrolled to go to college because, let's face it, I didn't know what else to do with my life. And that's the thing that happens to most people. So you basically go to high school, you go through that phase of your life, and then maybe some people decide, you know what, I'm going to travel around the world, maybe do a gap year somewhere in the Philippines or in Australia or whatever the hell. But in my case, I just straight up went to college because I didn't know what else to do. And that's the thing. Most people that actually go to college, like 80% or maybe even 90%, they go there because they don't know what else to do. And it's the thing that you should do, right? It's the thing that not only your parents tell you, but all of society tells you. Everybody in the television or even online, they're all saying, oh, you need to go to school, you need to get a degree, you need to get a good job, because without a degree you're nothing. That's oftentimes a thought that I see from people who start going to college. They do it because they think they have to do it. And oftentimes that going to college is also associated with a massive amount of debt. Yeah, and if you're, for example, living in the US, then you know it that you have to pay a massive amount of money. Unless you have scholarships, you have to pay massive amounts of money going to college. So you're not only doing something that maybe you don't actually want to do, right? But you also take on a bunch of debt for things that don't make any sense. So let's say you're going to college and you're studying, for example, social worker. You're studying something for the social work. In the end of the day, when you go through that 4-year degree, or maybe even if you go for the master's, a 6-year degree, then at the end of that you will not make as much money as you would have made if you would have started working and going up through a position, or maybe even starting your own business or doing online trading or whatever you want to do. So that's oftentimes a thing that most people in that age didn't realize. Also me personally in that age. So I went to college. I didn't have any college debt, luckily, because my parents paid for my cost of living. But for the college, I didn't have to pay any kind of college costs, because that's not where I live. It's not required to pay for college. But I was in the phase where I was transitioning from high school to college, and then it all started to creep up on me. And oftentimes I was just sitting there and not knowing what else to do with my life. I was just living from day to day, and then the depression started coming in. I didn't feel good about myself because I was just not doing anything. I was playing video games, I was starting to eat junk food, I was living unhealthily, and that also continued when I went to college, and it got even worse. When I went to college, the whole thing with the depression, it really started to hit me hard, because you have to imagine waking up at 7 or 6 o'clock in the morning in order to catch the train so I can go to university, because the university where I went to was in a whole another city. So I had to travel with the train in the mornings, and then in the mornings I also felt extremely bad because I didn't really want to go there. I was sitting the first time, I remember the first time when I went to the college class, I was sitting there listening to the actual things that they were talking about, and I was like, man, I don't really care about it at all. I was caring a little bit because I had like a little interest for the topic itself. I was studying physics. I had some interest for the physics, really a lot of interest, but with the things that were taught there, specifically in the university, those weren't the things that I was too much interested in. It really didn't catch me. It didn't ignite a spark in me. So maybe for you it's different. Maybe you're listening to this and you're like, Ray, you know, I'm a little bit depressed, but still I love going to college and I love the thing that I'm doing at college. And I think that's the biggest factor for people who have depression in college, and that was also the biggest factor for me. I was there and I actually shouldn't have been there because I didn't want to be there. The reason I was there was because I thought, if I get this degree, I will make a lot of money, and I think people will respect me, or I will get validation and recognition from other people, because they will be like, oh, you got a degree in physics, or maybe even a master's in physics, you have to be a genius, you have to be really smart, right? Or the other thing was for my parents, and that was what really made me unhappy. I was there because my parents told me, you need to get a degree, because we never had a degree, and in the end we didn't have that much money. So if you get a degree, you will have a lot of money. That's the thought that they had, because they didn't have that opportunity to go to college. So I was there in college taking classes. I was sitting there not even knowing why I was listening to the things that I was listening to. Half of the time inside of the 90-minute college courses, I was just looking into the air, writing some things down, looking on my phone, talking to my neighbor in the university at that time. We both weren't really listening, but he was actually still doing a lot of the worksheets, and in the beginning I was also doing the worksheets, although I was getting mentally even worse. The depression started to catch me, the feelings started to catch up, because when you're living your life like that, not knowing why you're there, and that really annoys you, it really annoys the hell hell out of you when you're just there for 90 minutes listening to stupid things you don't want to listen to. Talking to some other people that were there in physics, I didn't really get along too well with the other people inside of the university, especially in that physics sector, because those people, they weren't like they were weird like me, but they were not really social. They weren't really talking too much. They were interested in stupid things that I wasn't really interested in, and that further isolated me from the others. And that's also the thing that can oftentimes lead to that depression, is that you're lonely, you don't have somebody else to talk to, and even if you have somebody else to talk to, you don't feel like that person can understand me or that person knows what I'm going through. So in that time, what really helped me was going inside. You have to ask yourself, what is really the reason that I'm depressed, and not a superficial reason. Oh, I don't have enough money, or I'm not having enough relationships in my life, or whatever the hell it is. You have to go deep and ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I going to college? Maybe college is the reason why you're depressed in college. Maybe that's the whole thing, the course that you're taking right now, where you're like, I don't really want to take that course if I'm honest. Be honest with yourself. You cannot lie to yourself. And if you answer this question with an honest, no, I don't want to be there, then don't go there anymore. Cut that thing. Do something else. You're not forced to do it. You're not forced to go to college. Nobody's forcing you, especially if you're taking on massive amounts of debt for something that in the end of the day will not pay out for you the way that you think it should be, and it makes you unhappy. Don't take it. Don't do the degree. If you're like, oh, you know what, I don't think I'm going to finish it, and in the end it's not going to help me, don't take on $90,000 of debt. That's crazy. Don't do that. That's what a maniac would do. Cut it right now. The best thing you can do is, if you make the decision, go find a job and then immediately cut out the university, or start your own business or start at first making some money on the side, and if you realize, oh, I make enough money to sustain myself, then cut out the university. That's also mainly what I did back in the day. So what I did, I was starting to make some money on the side, doing some projects that I did online. So I was started making money online, and then I was like, you know what, I can make money online, or I can find with the skills that I required on the side while going to university, that I can work for somebody else or start my own company and do my own things. And that's what I actually then in the end of the day decided to do, because I was unhappy. I started going to university less and less, and over time the depression got less and less, because I wasn't sitting there and annoyed at myself for sitting there. I know that sometimes you can also be at places where you're not really want to be. You're like, okay, I'm doing this right now because I want to achieve X, Y, and Z. But if you don't know why you're there even, then it makes no sense being there. And that was what caused for me the biggest depression and the most emotions of unhappiness, because I was questioning myself, why am I doing this? And I didn't really like myself for not listening to what I truly want. So from the bottom of my heart, what I can tell you, what actually probably will help you, I cannot 100% tell you what will help in your situation, because a lot of people have different circumstances, and a lot of people are in different situations. So maybe you're listening to this and your depression can be something else. Maybe your depression stems from childhood abuse. Maybe you need to even go to a therapist. Maybe that's your personal solution. Or maybe you have some kind of chronic depression. You're like, hey Ray, I've been depressed since I was born, or since I was 3 years old. Then maybe that goes deeper. But what actually helped me, what I can tell you what helped from me personally, you can try it out, maybe it will also help for you. What I did is ask myself, why am I here? Is this what I actually want to do in the end? And for the point where I want to be at, is there any other way to go where I want to be without getting this degree? If this degree is causing me those negative emotions and that depression, is there some kind of other way that I can take? Because let's be real, in this time that we're living in right now, you don't have to be sitting in a university hall in the end of the day to get a degree and then make money. You can sit online. For example, you can start playing poker. Maybe you're good at poker, and then you can start becoming a professional poker player. Maybe that's your whole destiny. Maybe that's the thing. You can make a lot of money doing that. Or you start online trading. There are so many options. Maybe you are talented in art. You can start making TikTok videos about how you draw different things, and if you can actually draw, you will get views, and then in the end you can sell those things. If this, there are so many possibilities. It's crazy. It's crazy. Or maybe if you're good at languages, you can start teaching online courses, sitting at your home, educating people how they can start learning a different language and then work from home. There are so many options. You don't have to go to university if that's the thing that's actually causing you that much emotional pain in your life. So let's wrap this video up. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, give this video a like, just on a side note. But let's wrap this video up. Try what I've told you, right? With maybe ask yourself, hey, why am I here? Try something else. Do something on the side so you have another option, and don't take on massive debts unless you're 100% sure, because the debt will forever haunt you, and it will forever chain you to a life that you don't want want to live, because I was in debt my own self. That's a whole nother story. When I was in debt, I was feeling really bad when I had no money. So try to avoid that situation with the debt at all costs, unless you're doing it to become, for example, a lawyer or a doctor, if that's what you truly want to be. But don't do something because only your parents want you to do that. That's the way to unhappiness, and that will probably be a major factor in you being depressed. But I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope this video was actually giving something for your life, giving you value. Yeah, and until next time, guys, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.